They are very good with problems. All cats. Ha ha! Stupid human.
Obviously, this is a bad deal and we can kill him and take our caps back after the deed is done. If you refuse the offer, it will lead to him being hostile anyway, so this is the best way for it to pan out. This is a fun location to find and show signs of the classic Fallout humor. In Fallout New Vegas, with the Old World Blues DLC installed, one of the traits we can pick while creating our character is skilled. This grants +5 to all skills, but debuffs are gained experience by 10%. For me, the trade-off is far worth it as we gain experience completing quests and doing various other things. It just takes slightly longer to level up, especially the higher our level gets. Regardless, this trait becomes much more helpful when we take advantage of a bug at the beginning of the game. Traveling far enough away from Goodsprings will bring up a prompt asking if we want to change our character. It's here that we can get more bang for our buck. Going back through and remaking our character, when we come to the trait selection screen again, if we choose skilled, it will double our skill boost, adding another 5 while the debuff remains the same. We can reapply this process in the Old World Blues DLC at the Sinks Auto Dock, bringing the total to 15 bonus points for every skill. And if that 10% debuff on experience is bugging you, it's here that if we remove the skill trait, the bonus skill points remain while the debuff is removed. This makes the skill trait likely one of the most overpowered choices in Fallout New Vegas when following this path. This is why every time I go to the Mojave, I pick Wild Wasteland and Skilled. The pair can't be beat. At the Tops Casino in New Vegas, we can talk to Tommy Torini inside the Aces Theater. He will ask the courier to recruit acts for the casino. The quest will lead us to the comedians Billy Knight Adrian and the musicians Bruce Isaac and the Lonesome Drifter. While recruiting the boys, we can see that the marquee for the Tops is starting to fill up with these names. Excellent small detail, but it also offers a hint at a bigger reward for completing the quest. We can watch these acts once they've settled at the Aces Theater.
I told my looking for
We'll play reimagined folk songs that will fit into the Fallout universe. Singing Streets of Reno based on Streets of Laredo, which was first published in 1910 in John Lomax's Cowboy Songs and Other Frontier Ballads, but was made famous by Marty Robbins. These songs were recorded by Fallout New Vegas lead Joshua Sawyer. Vegas, we can find a few different items that have somehow stayed around after 200 years of appropriate. Some, of course, are more interesting than others, but the fact that we see anything intact from before the war is pretty impressive. One of the things I was surprised to see the most was that a couple of musical instruments have survived out the waste. We can find a small number of harmonicas in our travels. It makes sense that these still appear. While they are rare, they still appear in a decently sized collection of mouth harps. However, only one other instrument appears in Fallout New Vegas, and it is far more rare, the acoustic guitar. The courier can only obtain 3 of these throughout the game, and 2 of those require stealing from a well-liked NPC. We can take the first one from the stump the lone ranger sits on. After doing so, if we complete his part of the talent pool, the acoustic guitar will pickpocket this from him with good enough sneak, bringing our count to 2. Finally, in the Sierra Madre Villa, we can find the only other acoustic guitar in the game, across the street from the police station, next to a music stand. These are the only 3 guitars we can collect from the entirety of Fallout New Vegas, and I love collecting them. It's worth noting that these musical instruments serve no actual purpose as we can't play them, and that there is some writing on the bottom of the guitar. I can't really make it out myself, so I would love to know what your theories are on what the text says in the comments below. In Fallout New Vegas, the courier can encounter a variety of different things, from roving gangs to giant sinkholes and everything in between. One of the more disgusting encounters is the wrecked highwayman just outside of Novak. The subject of many a rumor, this car crash site clearly pays homage to Fallout 2 somehow. But how deep does the reference go? Is this the car of the fabled Chosen One? Does it imply that someone like Novart could be that very tribal? Well, not quite. This encounter references one that we could have found in Van Buren, where we would see the Chosen One's car filled with microfusion cells and a tanker fob, the latter used to drive the PMV Valdez to the oil rig to confront the Enclave. So here we are in New Vegas, where we can find the trunk sticking out of a sinkhole. The reason we see the Highwayman in this state and hear the familiar gold slab track when approaching it is because it's referencing a glitch that would happen in Fallout 2, where the trunk would just disappear. I asked Fallout New Vegas developer Chris Avalon directly about this encounter, and he had this to say. It's just for fun, but that would have been a good idea. We did have a plan for a special encounter in Van Buren where you could find the Corvegas trunk, since it could, go missing. But alas, when asked if it was implied that Nobark was the Chosen One, he replied, nah, as amusing as it is to consider, Nobark wasn't the Chosen One. While this does put some rumors to rest about the location, it's still great to see any type of throwback to the classic bar. Like Highwayman is one of the best. Thank you to Grand Mythos 57 from the Discord server for suggesting this one. In the Fallout New Vegas DLC Old World Blues, we can find one of the best Fallout experiences to date. The level of science fiction and mystery, adventure area. On the western outskirts of the map, amongst the Hex Creek Archipelago, we can find the Z-38 Lightwave Dynamics Research Building. Inside, we see that this facility was used by scientists taking orders from Fred Sinclair, who was responsible for building the Sierra Madre. A terminal resting on the ground floor goes over the various frustrations that the team had with living up to Sinclair's expectations. Seemingly for reference, when they were designing the Mira Keys hologram, we can find a movie poster featuring the Starlet hanging on the wall and a small framed portrait on the table across the room. The hardest thing to miss here is the giant blue beam that seems to be projected from both the floor and the ceiling. This was used to create and sculpt the holograms that the scientists were working on. Stepping into this light will cause the courier to faint for 12 hours, making this a great way to pass the time when needed in Old World Blues. There's a balanced radius accentuator in the center of the beam that we can pick up once we regain control of the courier. Overall, something like this that adds more lore to another DLC is really nice to see. It shows that connections exist all over the Mojave and beyond, and that there is plenty of attention to detail in Fallout New Vegas. In Fallout New Vegas, if we head to Camp Searchlight, we can find a church to the southeast. The area is heavily radiated due to the Legion attack, and most of the living beings that we see here are ghouls. Though if we have the Wild Wasteland trait, we can get our hands on some of the best explosives in the game. We can enter the basement of this church, where some golden geckos will be waiting for us. Still, after dealing with them, we will see the Wild Wasteland notification when coming to the table at the center of the room. Sitting on the table, we can see a box with 3 grenades inside, all with white crosses on them, and a message painted on another box that says, Holy Hand Grenades, hold pin and count to 5, with the number 5 crossed out and a 3 written next to it. These grenades pack quite the punch, having the highest DPS out of all explosives in Fallout. When thrown, after a short wait time, what amounts to a miniature atomic blast destroys every enemy in the area and will damage an unprepared courier as well. Interestingly enough, the grenades lose their trademark white cross when they're thrown, but most people won't mind considering how much damage these mini nukes can do. This is a weapon that devs wanted to include in Fallout 2, but we wouldn't see them officially until New Vegas. Of course, the grenades are a reference to Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which features the Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch. Fallout is filled with Monty Python Easter eggs, and this is one of the best. Thank you to Kairuji and Crane from the Discord server for suggesting this one. In Fallout New Vegas, one of the most devastated areas we can come across is Camp Searchlight. The site is ground zero from a nuclear attack perpetrated by the Legion to the NCR troops stationed here. One such trooper is Private Kyle Edwards, who has ghoulified and taken up hiding inside one of the open houses in Searchlight. Speaking with him, we can find out why he is scared to leave.
Rad scorpions. Fuckers creep the hell out of me. I'm not going outside while they're still crawling around.
This starts an unmarked quest called Arachnophobia. We need to take out the 3 giant rad scorpions that will spawn outside the door once we talk to Edwards. When the smoke has cleared from that nonsense, we have a few possibilities on where to send the ghoul soldier. Edwards could join Aster, explore the wasteland, or my personal favorite, take up shop at Ranger Station Echo. The NCR camp has plenty of other ghoul soldiers, and to me, it seems like the best place for Edwards to realize that he will be just fine in the NCR. Ranger Station Echo has some background radiation that makes it more accessible for ghouls. This could be due to the craters we see outside, which most people attribute to dropping atomic bombs, which makes sense due to the subject of the Fallout series. Still, I have always thought that they were meteorite craters, though they are a tad smaller than what you would expect for that. Craters left by meteorites often have the same pattern, with a large hole surrounded by a couple of smaller ones. Whatever the case may be, this to me seems like a perfect home for Private Edwards, and it sure beats the hell out of being stuck in Searchlight. In Fallout New Vegas, we find the diamond in the rough, the New Vegas Strip. Out of all of the post-apocalyptic settlements that we come across in the Fallout universe, the Strip has got to be one of my top favorites. As soon as we enter, we are blasted with music and lights, people milling about, and giant functioning casinos on every corner. Though, when it comes to the tops, there is some interesting artwork that we can check out inside. The casino is no stranger to unique design. The entrance is beautiful, and fantastic decor art can be seen everywhere. From molded ceiling lights to sculptures on the walls, the tops is a far cry from the wasteland outside the New Vegas border. One of the paintings we can find in multiple locations shows Tenpenny Tower. This, of course, is a place that we can visit and call home in Fallout 3. Still, we are 2,400 miles away from the capital wasteland during Fallout New Vegas, so seeing it pictured here can be a bit jarring. A man in a cowboy hat and duster can be seen in the picture, which I assume could possibly be Lucas Sims, though why he would be out of Megaton visiting Tenpenny Tower is a different question. This is not the only time we see odd art in New Vegas that seems to come from Fallout 3, but it is one of the only landmarks that we can find from the capital wasteland featured in the game. Now, when you go to the Tops Casino, you won't be able to unsee it. You're welcome. Thank you to Petrified Napkin from the Discord server for suggesting this one. In Fallout New Vegas, we can explore the Mojave Wasteland to our heart's content. While the surface has plenty of things to worry about, there is a sub-level in the New Vegas area as well. The sewers that run under the city are home to large groups of people looking to stay safe from the all too apparent dangers that lurk above ground. They are also home to Red Lucy and the Thorn, an arena of sorts that sees the mutated creatures of the post-war battle it out for the enjoyment of the spectators. The courier can even jump into the fights themselves, earning respect and some caps for their troubles. Red Lucy doesn't have an unlimited supply of creatures though. In order to maintain them, she has to gather eggs from topside every so often, and the courier can get the quest Bleed Me Dry from Lucy, which will target increasingly more difficult to obtain egg piles. Once the courier has finished this task, Red Lucy will be impressed and take you up on the offer of going somewhere more private, her chambers. Now that we are inside, we can see this light switch, the same one Lucy turns on before she gets more comfortable. This is a mood light switch. When turning it on, red light will coat the bed, and soft music starts playing through the speakers in the room. This is a great attention to detail that really builds on Lucy's character, as she has a very strong sexual and physical energy. So seeing that she has such a smooth setup for when things get intimate makes complete sense. Now, if only we could set something like this up in the Lucky 38 suite. Thank you to Kitty from the Discord for suggesting this one. In Fallout New Vegas, while at Boulder City, we can find quite a few clues about the previous Battle of Hoover Dam and the standoff that happened here. On the top floor of the building here that is brought to our attention by a trail of skeletons, we can find the remains of Ranger Teresa Lutz, and next to her is a holotape that reads, "We're cut off from the rest of the platoon, and there are legionaries all over the place. There's no chance that we can get out of here before they blow the town, so we're going to hold out against them as long as we can. If anyone gets this, I'd like to make sure that Private Jeffrey Hoy and Corporal Marcus Christensen are commended for their valor and sacrifice. Both have upheld the ideals and honor of the New California Republic with distinction. Ranger Teresa Lutz out." We can find the names of Marcus Christensen, Jeffrey Hoy, and Teresa Lutz on the war memorial outside. And Private Kowalski even sheds some more light on the events that took place.
You here to pay your respects too? It commemorates the Battle of Hoover Dam. The Rangers lured the best of Caesar's legions